shape on it for the appliance. Now, you don't have to make this that big, just gauge it based on your actor. Then, you want to take the Play-Doh and build up a wall around what you drew. Make sure it's secure. Next, you want to mix your plaster of Paris. What Rallis does is he fills about a quarter of his container full of water. Then he sifts in the plaster on top. He adds so much to a point where the plaster will sit on top of the water, and you won't see water anymore. Then he mixes it up. The consistency is very close to that of pancake batter. Once that's ready, you'll paint the first layer onto the mold. Then after that, you're going to just slowly drizzle on more on top of that first painted layer. Keep doing this until your mold is full. As the plaster dries, it's going to be a little more like clay. You want to mold a flat top, so then when this mold is ready to take out, it'll sit flat on the table. While the plaster is drying, you're going to want to take some heat shrink tubing and flatten it. Once that's flat, you're going to want to heat shrink it to a tube connector, and then add some plastic tubing to that using a zip tie to secure it. You want to secure the other end of the plastic tubing to some more connectors. Rallis uses a quick release valve, so it's easy to take the fake blood on and off of the appliance. Next, you want to take some hot glue and hot glue the end of the heat shrink tubing, making sure it is shut tight. You don't want blood coming off the end of it. Then, you want to mark little slits on the tubing and cut those out with scissors. Be very careful to not cut out through the tubing all the way to the other end. You just want it on one side. Once the plaster is dry, you want to take off as much Play-Doh as possible, and then draw a thin line around the edge of the plaster. Next, you want to add the liquid latex to this mold. The first layer of liquid latex should go all the way to that edge that you drew. After that, each layer should get progressively smaller and closer to the center. You want to do about 8 layers of this. Your final layer will go all the way back to that original edge that you first drew. When you take off the appliance, make sure you use plenty of baby powder because you don't want the appliance to rip. Trim off some of the excess edging. Now it's time for the application. After preparing your actor with plenty of precautions about makeup and fake blood, you want to rub down the area with alcohol. After securing the tubing to the back of your actor using safety pins and tape, you want to add liquid latex to the heat shrink tubing and your actor's neck. Using a blow dryer to dry the liquid latex, and making sure you're not going to burn your actor, you dry that liquid latex. The heat shrink tubing will stick to your actor's neck. Then you want to stipple around the edges of that heat shrink tubing with more liquid latex, waiting for it to dry. Once it is dry, you want to add liquid latex to the top and bottom of the middle of the skin appliance. That should stick to the liquid latex you have there already. Then you want to slowly add more liquid latex from the inside out of the appliance. Once you have the appliance secured, you want to stipple on more liquid latex around the edges. Now, you want to do about 3 layers of liquid latex, stippling far away from the appliance, blending it in to the actor's skin using a torn edge of a sponge. Then you add the makeup to blend the entire appliance into the actor's skin. Make sure to add some reds and pinks to it so it looks more like flesh tone and matches your actor perfectly. The last step is you want to powder on as much powder on top of it so the makeup stays where it is. Now the last thing you'll do is add the fake blood to your garden sprayer, hook up the appliance and make sure the blood is right to the edge of the appliance, ready to go, and then you have some fun.
It's still going.